Some kids wish for the latest consoles. Some kids want expensive shoes. I've only ever really wished for one thing. Every night, I climb up to the roof and wait for a shooting star. I make a wish that I could have a family. Hi, I'm Pete, and I'm an orphan. I know my wish is an impossible one, because not even a genie could bring my parents back, so I doubt Santa can. Life as an orphan was tough. I lived with my aunt for as long as I can remember, and she only took me in because she was my only family. She doesn't particularly like me. All she ever does is make me do the household chores and serve her boyfriend as if I was the butler. I got made fun of at school. Nobody wanted to hang out and make friends with me. Kids teased me for being an orphan. There was a group of 3 boys who particularly relished in pushing me around. Hey, look! It's Orphan Boy! What you got for lunch, Orphan Boy? Probably nothing. He's got no mom to cook for him. Nice one, Max. He's so weird. Even his parents couldn't stand being around too long. Those boys would torment me daily. I never felt safe. I never had peace. Most of the time, they'd just yell insults at me. But sometimes, when they're really bored, they'd drag me outside and throw balls at me until they got tired. Sometimes, they gathered the other kids and they'd make me fight as if we were in a boxing ring. I never want to. But somehow, they can just push the right buttons, and I would eventually throw a punch. As soon as I do, I was in trouble. Because even our teachers had it out for me. I had never started a fight. And yet, every time a teacher found out what we'd been up to, I'd be the one to take the blame. He's a problem child. Must be because he has no parents. He's always causing trouble. Honestly, orphans should have school just for them. Makes the other children uncomfortable being around kids like that. He'll no doubt become a criminal when he grows up. I decided I was done with trying to reason with my tormentors. I decided to fight back. But I fought back with kindness. When they insulted me, I'd say, "Have a nice day." When they dragged me outside to hit me, I would smile at them and say, "Thank you." And when they got me into trouble, and I had to go into detention, I would tell them that I look forward to seeing them again tomorrow. At first, it made things worse. They kept trying and trying to break me. But as time went on, I broke them. Fight back! Fight back, you stupid orphan! I'm bored now. He's no fun anymore. Me too. He's lame. It was during one of those times when the guys tried to get a rise out of me, and I refused that I met Holly. Can't you just leave him alone? All you guys do is pick on people who don't fight back. Why don't you try someone who will? Holly faced the guys off, her fists held high and ready to fight. But Max, Dalton, and Fred didn't plan on fighting a girl. Because if they did, they'd be in a world of trouble. Holly was always by my side from that point on. She rescued me. She even got in a shouting match with a teacher that was picking on me. That got her suspended. I thought I'd be with her forever. I was certain that I'd propose to her on graduation day. But before we could even celebrate our first anniversary, I had to leave. I was adopted. More like bought. Some mysterious family offered to take me off of Aunt Cassie's hands, and she agreed. She only told me the day that the guy was going to pick me up. I never got to say goodbye to Holly. My new parents were an older couple. They'd tried for many, many years to have a baby, but they were never blessed. They grew old, and they thought they'd never try again. It was only pure luck that the wife overheard my aunt complaining about having to raise someone else's kid. My new life is nothing like the old one. In that house, I was loved. I felt it. I was loved very much. They gave me everything I could ever need. I was given freedom to spend as much or as little as I wanted. I got my own humongous room. And they gifted me an entire room full of toys. Mom's name is Tara, and Dad's called Andre. We all live in a mansion. I started going to a really fancy boarding school. They got me a really pretty tutor to help me catch up with my grades, too. Unfortunately, the tutor was so distracting with her beauty that my grades barely improved. I got to make new friends who didn't judge me for being adopted. We would have parties and camping trips. It was on one of those trips that my world turned upside down once more. As my boys and I were driving down the boulevard of a popular beach town, I saw her. Her hair as familiar as it was many years ago. Holly! She looked back, and for a second, she didn't recognize me. And then, she came running towards me, leaping into the air. I caught her and she embraced me tight. Kissed. I can't believe it! It's really you! Laughed. Yeah! And it's really you! It was a glorious 2.5 weeks. I was living an amazing life, and now the only piece missing, my girlfriend, was back. Couldn't have asked for more. But all things come to an end. And eventually, I was gonna find out the truth anyway. Because as much as Holly would make it seem like we totally just bumped into each other, she actually followed my movement for months. She had someone spy on me so she'd know exactly where I was. Exactly 2 weeks and 3 days from reconnecting with her, things began to take a turn. One morning, I woke up to Holly screaming. She was on the phone. Help! Help! Please! It's on my bed! Please, hurry! Send as many people as you can! Blinked my eyes open and looked at her curiously. What's happening, babe? Are you okay? Why are you screaming? Holly put the phone down and looked at me with annoyance in her face. You are so dumb. You better go run before the cops catch you here. And only a few minutes later, the door to my apartment burst open. Freeze! Police! Didn't know why, but I froze involuntarily. But as soon as I did, the policewoman's gaze fell on me. Ma'am, get behind me. Are you all right? Are you safe? Help me, officer! Wait, why are you alone? Don't you have backup? Miss, just behind me and I'll make sure this guy gets out of your apartment. Your apartment? Cops reached for her handcuffs. Sir, you would please calmly come with me down to the station. But what? Why? I reached for my phone, but the officer thought I was pulling a weapon out, and so she tackled me to the ground. We rolled around for a bit. I was extremely confused why that was happening, but then she won. And I was carted off to the station without knowing what I did wrong. She must have put me out like a light. When I woke up, I was already in a cell, and the cop who took me into custody was looking down on me. There was a light shining down, and she looked like an angel with a halo. Am I in the afterlife? Cop laughed. You're in the Will County's PD's jail cells, so it's a little worse than that. She was funny, and as I looked up again, I noticed how beautiful she was. Anyway, as soon as I got there, I realized one thing. Holly had told the authorities that I was a stalker of hers, and that my apartment was hers. She told them I had been following her for days, and that just last night I sneaked into her apartment. Didn't know yet why she did that, but I had my suspicions. I explained my side to Trish, and somehow she heard me out. It'll be really easy to find out who's telling the truth. Just please look up the title deed at the registrar's office. See who really owns that apartment. And Trish did. When she came back, she had no words. She just looked down and let me go. I'm really, really sorry. Let me at least escort you home. I let her. Of course I did. I would have given anything just to spend a bit more time with her. When we got to my apartment, I was less than surprised that there was nothing left there. Holly stripped it bare. It turned out, Holly just wanted me out of there so she could get away with stealing everything in my house. She must have heard somewhere that I was loaded now, and she wanted a piece of it. What a stupid girl, I remember thinking. If she stayed with me, she could have taken me for my money's worth over the years. Instead, she resorted to straight-up simple theft. Well, that was good for me, because at least now I know that I will never let Holly sink her teeth into me ever again. Trish apologized again, but this time, she had an idea. I feel really guilty for locking you up. I can only apologize to you by putting this right. I promise I will hunt her down, and I will return everything she took from you. Holly was not at all hard to track down. She was trying to sell my stuff on Facebook Marketplace, with her actual account. So, we burst into the doors of her trailer that she had parked outside a shopping center, and there, strewn across the floor, were all the valuables she stole from me. Luckily, she hadn't yet convinced anyone to buy any of them. Why'd you steal from me, Holly? Holly was mad. Because you left me all alone! Here you are living this fancy life, while for years I didn't know what happened to you. You owe me at least this much money for the suffering I went through. That was when I took out a small camera I was wearing. Gotcha! What? Actually, we had no warrant to search your trailer. But now that you've confessed to stealing all this on camera, Trish here can arrest you now. Trish cuffed Holly. She smiled at me. Now, I've returned everything she stole from you. I smiled back. Not all of it. What about my heart? It was a really cheesy line, but it worked. Because while she was cuffing Holly, Trish leaned into me and kissed me. How about now? Holly writhed in disgust. Or envy. Or probably both. Because the very same cop she used to frame me so she could steal from me was now the very same cop who was crushing on me.